Hello and welcome back to the Corhazi Outlook, a Grand Archive TCG podcast centered around tournament results and competitive metagame analysis.
We are here to provide a glimpse into what's being played at larger tournaments and help you prepare for your next big event. This is episode 20. I'm Ken, also known as Chromatic. With me, as always, is Aubrey, also known as Jim the Eternal.
That's me!
And today, we are bringing you a torrent of new information from Ascent, Niagara Falls.
I see what you did there. How long have you been sitting on that one?
Is this 45 minutes.
Okay, all right.
It's kind of fresh. We were watching the dev stream and it just kind of popped in my head and I was like, this is too on the nose, but whatever. I
don't want to make fun of you for all these, terrible puns.
You can. You're allowed.
That one was a little damp.
It was a little touche. Anyway, before we get into that, hey Jim.
Hello.
What have you been up to?
We've been up to Niagara Falls.
We have, in fact, we were up to Niagara Falls.
That is in fact up. It's north of here.
It is confirmed.
So yeah, both of us went to Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Ken, of course, went as a player.
Yes.
I, not of course, but in this particular case, went as commentary, which was very good.
Yeah.
I feel like the stream went well. I think most of the feedback I heard was good. Not that I heard that much feedback, but like most of the feedback I heard was good. It's just really fulfilling to be able to play that role and kind of be on the stream and be sort of this face for Grand Archive and talk about the game. Like, that's a lot of fun.
I mean, I heard the chemistry and the commentary was very good. From what I heard and from what I've seen is really good. I'm still in the process of reviewing a few matches just to get some data on some decks that I really want to play in the future.
Yeah,
but
sure.
All in all, very, very good.
Yeah.
On the player side, this was a pretty stacked event. I can talk a little bit about my own experience, which is I got knocked out very early, actually. Matchmaking was not particularly kind to me this time. Not that I'm blaming the matchmaking above all things. Certainly, I could have played a few things a little bit better. But I got matched into a few very strong players who I would have expected on any given day to top 8 one of these events. So my 3 losses knocking me out of the running for day 2 were against Girthos, Team True Terry, and Liftercell, which was a real big triple threat.
That's a 1, 2, 3. That's real bad.
It was savage. But I took a couple games off.
Okay.
But all in all, like these guys are consistent toppers for a reason.
No, they're very powerful.
They're very powerful, very powerful. So just being able to hold my own to some extent was already just at least a big confidence booster for me. Even though I didn't win, I had a lot of fun. The banter was really good. Just vibing with the guys was really, really fun.
Heck yeah.
So I look forward to training up again and facing them again in the ring.
Yeah, I really feel like playing against players of this caliber is your curse, which is why you've made it onto stream so often.
I know.
I guess you're playing against Liftersill. We're gonna put Liftersill on stream.
It was really kind of nostalgic because we were just talking when I saw Liftersill. And he was like, "Hey man, hope you got your Crimson Trinket ready." And I was like, "I burned it in a parking lot. I don't have it with me anymore. I'm sorry."
Well, it failed you for the last time.
It's true. That was the last straw, really. So that kind of put me out of the running. I was planning on playing the rest of day 1, but I started nodding off really badly in round 6. So I finished that round up and decided to go take a nap, which was, my body thanked me for that. So,
the whole travel from PST as a time zone to EST is real awkward.
A little tough.
Yeah,
so,
my call time was 7:30.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
I am a person who is used to staying up pretty late.
Yeah.
And then I have to go over there and wake up at 6:30, which is effectively 3:30 here, and it's a struggle.
I was so gung ho. I was like, I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m., get some breakfast, be ready to go, and I just my eyes opened when my alarm went off, and I was like, this is a mistake. But no, it was a ton of fun. End of the day, 3-3 and dropping, but ultimately the vibes were still very good. Got to see Niagara Falls, which was very, very lovely.
Heck yeah.
Got torrentially blasted for approximately 37. There was a lot of water. A lot of water cards in the yard, if you know what I'm talking about. But all in all, really great event. Fantastic event. But you're not here to listen to my tourist experience. You're here to listen about the decks.
So yeah, let's talk about Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
So day 1.
Yes.
Let's start here. We'll start with the element breakdown, which is, I think, a lot of what people expected.
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
So there was 50% of the field was on fire. 106. I guess I should start with how many players there were.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
213 players in this event, which is actually one of the smaller ascents that we've had.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than the last one in Canada, which was at Toronto. But it's still pretty small compared to especially Taipei, which was massive.
Right. But like even the other sort of U.S. events, like if you look at Boston was 269 players. Nice. Which was, like a decent chunk more.
Yeah.
And you look at this and it's 213 players total.
Yeah. I think there was a question of like how many rounds were we actually going to end up playing?
Right.
Because it was kind of on that line.
So it ended up being below 256, which meant we got the 8-round day one, which was nice. Actually,
Yeah.
it was convenient.
Very
I
good.
appreciated not having to go that extra round.
8 rounds, fine. 9 rounds, no. Too much.
But also, I think this plays into kind of your experience playing these sort of top tier players.
Yes.
Is with less people there. I don't think that's because there's less top tier players flying in.
Oh, absolutely
right?
not.
People flying in from the Europe region, from SEA, from OCE.
Yeah.
So these same people are going to be at every ascent, regardless of where it is. What it meant is that we had fewer local players.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely saw a few very good players from Europe come in. And a decent handful of people that I know who are in Canada. But yeah, less local players than I guess I would normally see.
Yeah, and even the local players that we saw were pretty good. Like the Canadian players were pretty strong.
Oh yeah, no, like we had some of Canada's best players there. We had some new players who were really, really fun and great to play against. And we also had some very intense races.
Right, yeah. So I think the sort of middle ground of like decent to good players shrinks as a result of the number of people at the event. So it was kind of split between people who are definitely not making day 2 and people who will definitely stop you from making day 2.
Yes. Like there is no in between there. It's either you have a nice chill ride to the finish, or you're going to get hard stopped. Yeah, you're probably going to get hard stopped eventually, honestly. As close as you get to the top, there are so many people fighting for that hill.
So just the sidebar on the day's size. Like I think that was a really interesting thing to see.
Absolutely.
But anyway, the numbers. So 106 of the players on fire, 50% of the field.
Yeah.
And then we have a decent chunk of players on wind, 63, 30%, and a smaller chunk of players on water.
Yeah.
Which is like, these are the numbers that we've been seeing in this meta.
Yeah, some might have expected with Ryle the Abyss being banned that the number of fire players would shrink. We might go back to sort of the water meta of some of the previous seasons, but that really hasn't happened here. Fire's still going very strong.
Yeah, so it's definitely still dominated by fire. It's not as dominated by fire. It's not like 70% fire.
Yeah.
But it is definitely still primarily fire, a decent chunk of wind, and a much smaller chunk of water.
Absolutely.
So, like, I think part of that is because of the openness of this meta.
Yeah.
Right? Because water decks tend to be designed around stopping certain kinds of threats.
Yeah.
And when there's so many different decks that are available, so many different options for people to play, it makes it a lot harder to tech your water deck appropriately for what the field is going to be like.
Yeah, control tools are very, very specific in Grand Archive, so if you don't have a good idea of what you're facing, it's much, much harder to play that role. And here we have a lot of different threats you can potentially follow.
Yeah. So we end up seeing a decent chunk of the water decks being sort of like the standardized water decks with kind of mid-rangey buyouts.
Yeah, things that you can be a little more proactive with.
Yeah. So like Genbu, the most popular water deck, obviously.
Genbu, definitely very, very good contender here.
I think we saw a decent chunk of like Water CL. We saw a decent chunk of Water Diana.
Yeah.
But that the water decks tend to be like we saw it, the water decks didn't have as much of a focus.
Yeah. I mean, Water Umber CL is probably the most reactive deck, and even that has a pretty solid inevitability engine of I'm going to ping you for 2 every single turn.
Right, yeah. Once you get to level 3, you're just going.
Yeah, you're just trying to stall and not lose, and then you can just sort of overwhelm them with good value and damage.
Right.
So.
And then the number everybody's been waiting for, 3 norm decks.
Hey!
2 of which were slimes.
Yes, that's true. I saw it. There was one Dawn of Ashes.
Still
deck.
running Spirit of Slime because the player could not find a Lost Spirit.
Yes. We have good budget options in this game. Don't let anyone touch it.
Yeah. Superb. So 1% of the field on Norm.
Yes. We love Norm in this house. He's
so,
a cool dude.
So I'm not going to go too deep into the list of decks that showed up in day 1, just because there's a lot of decks.
Yeah, there's so much variety.
Talking about like the long tail. We talked about this long tail of decks at the previous episode, and it's only gotten worse.
Yeah, it's there are so many archetypes in this game.
So many archetypes. To start this off, day 2, right after we've weeded out most of the chaff. still 20 unique archetypes.
That's insane.
Across 44 decks, 20 unique archetypes. But of course, the most common deck was Crux.
Yeah.
Even if you go into the various flavors of Crux, the most common deck was Merlin Crux.
Yep.
Like, even stripping that down, right? We had 32 people on Merlin. In mostly fire, a little bit of water. But that is by far the most common deck in the field.
I say this with absolute love. Merlin is the cockroach of Grand Archive. She will never be irrelevant. Ever. Just if you keep her down one season, she's just going to come back next season.
Behind Merlin, in terms of like single deck archetypes, is actually Tristan with Shadow Strike.
Yeah, Tristan is very popular. People love Tristan. There are dedicated players who play it. I know Main Deck Dan was playing this event. He equates that to his comfort deck.
Yep.
So there are folks who are very, very comfy with this deck.
Yeah. So I think there was and you know, very, very quickly the numbers on the decks drop off.
Yeah.
There were 18 Shadow Strike decks, and almost immediately you go down to like 10 of a deck, 11 of a deck.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Seryu had 14, right?
Yep.
And then past that, everything is like either single digits or 10 or 11.
What kind of surprises me is there's a smattering of Aetherwing decks right up here, around 11 decks or so.
Yeah. So Aetherwing was actually one of the more popular archetypes for day one.
Yeah.
But we're going to go into more depth for archetypes for day two, just because those are the ones that made it.
Yeah, and there's going to be, we would otherwise be here forever.
Yeah,
every
exactly,
single little deck.
Exactly. Really quick tidbit, though. Speaking not about archetypes, but about champions. 34 Merlins.
Yeah.
33 non-Merlin Lorraine decks.
Hey.
Which you do need to call that out, because all of the Merlin decks started off as Lorraine.
Yes, very, very important.
Every single one.
Yeah, Crux Knight and Spirit Ruler turns out are very, very different decks.
But Merlin was still not the most popular champion.
Yep.
The most popular champion was Guoja.
Yes. It almost makes me wonder if we should just divide the Shenju up as their own champions, basically.
Right?
just
Yeah,
because
kinda.
There's such wildly different strategies. Like Guoja is effectively three different archetypes.
Yeah, just
Wildly
three completely different decks.
Yeah.
And they all have the same champion.
Why can't it be 4 archetypes? Byakko players, what are you doing? I don't know.
Not being there.
I don't know.
They've all been suppressed.
Oh, no, they're actually Merlin players. The Byakko Merlin decks are real.
Yeah, there you go. So some callouts for decks that were popular, I think, but didn't quite make it. Or maybe just decks that people think should be popular in the meta that didn't quite make it. So Suited. No Suited in day 2.
Yep.
No Slimes in day 2.
Sad.
Pour one out for Henke.
Yep.
No Terra in day 2.
Surprising. I saw a shocking amount of Kongming players.
Yeah, there was a decent chunk of Kongming players. There was some Terra Diao-Chan out there.
Yeah.
But the no Terra decks made it to day 2. No Fractals decks made it to day 2.
Yeah.
Which I think is also interesting. Like that is a deck that people are kind of seeing a little bit of success with now that Ryle's gone.
It can sneak up on you, especially with Genbu not being super present. I think there was an opportunity there.
Yeah, and it feels like it's the time, right?
Yeah.
You know, now is when people sort of let their guard down, have a little bit less access to spell defense. But I think there's just enough Lorraine out there that that Fractals just doesn't really have much of a chance.
Yeah.
And then Jin didn't make it.
Jin went to therapy.
There was exactly one Exia player in the entire event.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
How did he do?
Not well.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, dear.
So let's just move straight into day 2 then.
Yeah, I think that's where the meat of this is really going to come together.
Yeah. So like I was saying, 20 unique archetypes in day 2.
That is insane.
Yeah. And I've done my best to kind of separate stuff out. So instead of just saying there are Crux decks, trying to separate them out into the sort of the flavors of Crux. And I would love to hear your feedback on it. Leave a comment for us. Let us know how you feel about this, if it needs to be separated more, if separating it out to this point is not helpful. I want to hear how people feel about these kinds of decks.
Yeah. Would love to hear more input on how you guys sort of classify these as little archetypes and even the sub-archetypes, you know?
Yeah. So of the Crux decks, we have Merlin Crux. We have Lorraine Crux on Crux Knight.
Yep.
And we also have Lorraine Crux on Spirit Ruler.
Yes.
So doing stuff with Sword Saint's Vow.
Yeah.
And that was a deck that got a little bit of a little bit of press here. It did pretty well, honestly.
Yeah, it was a little. I mean, it was kind of spread out across the rankings, but it definitely had a few good contenders here.
And then we've also done a little bit of more split across the aggro decks, so it's kind of separating out Suzaku from Lorraine, from Tristan, etc. Just so it's not just one big pile of fire aggro.
Yeah.
So let's look at those numbers. We had 9 Merlin Crux decks. This is definitely by far the most popular deck in day 2.
Yeah, Merlin is still kicking. She's still very popular. I think people who know how to play her know her very well. She's also just gotten a lot faster with the new tools from DTR.
Yep. And 9 out of 32 is a pretty decent conversion rate.
Yeah.
So Merlin deck, Merlin not only the most popular individual champion, well, aside from Guoja, but let's set that aside in a different box. We're not talking about Guoja here.
Yes.
Aside from being not only the most popular individual deck, it is one of the decks that converted better than its rate would seem, right? So it's one of the decks that performed kind of a little bit better than most of the other decks in the field. So a solid choice, I think, for anybody thinking about what deck to take to the next event is expect to see some Merlin Crux, but maybe just bring Merlin yourself.
It's a good deck. It's got a lot of strong tools. It goes a lot faster, draws more cards, and just it's the Merlin you all know and love, or love to hate, depending on who you are.
So the next most popular deck in day 2, Tristan, Shadow Strike.
Yep.
6 Shadow Strike decks in day 2 out of the 18 Shadow Strike decks in the field. So an even 33% conversion rate. This is actually the best conversion rate, barring outliers.
Yeah,
because boy, were there outliers.
I mean, it makes sense. The Tristan players are dedicated.
So yeah, Shadow Strike also like a really good choice.
Yeah.
If it's a deck you're comfortable, I should preface this. If it's a deck you're comfortable,
yeah, there is a learning curve on this deck. We've stated this before. You gotta get really comfortable with it.
There, like you said, learning curve, really high skill ceiling. So the better you are at the deck, the more it rewards you. But really low floor. Like you could do real bad on this deck if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So learning curve is exactly
learn
right.
your lines,
exactly
friends.
Right.
Learn your lines.
Next, there were 3 each of Seryu and Ascension Crux.
Yeah.
So kind of the typical Lorraine Crux Knight deck.
The good old the prismatic.
Some of them prismatics.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Not all
some
of them. Okay.
Same with Merlin. Like some of them were prismatic, some of them weren't.
Yeah, that's true. There's definitely a split between fire, like pure fire, and prismatic nowadays. Whether or not you have Ascension.
So I think all of these decks, both the Merlin and the Lorraine Crux Knight decks, are prismatic edge decks running Spirit Blade Ascension. They're not all tagged as prismatic on Fractal of Insight, because prismatic refers specifically to having all 3 or at least 2 of the colors available in your deck. So if you're seeding it with an extra water card or an extra wind card as opposed to pure fire. But this kind of conglomerates both of those. It's one of those separations that personally I feel is not, like, when you're talking about, Merlin decks, whether you're talking about a Merlin deck that also includes like a one of favorable wins or something.
Yeah.
Like it's not that much of a difference in terms of how the deck plays.
Right.
So
of course.
not a thing that I'm considering when it comes to separating the decks out. But yeah, 3 Stereo decks, 3 Ascension Crux decks, and you could 3, right? We're already into the long tail.
Yeah.
So now there's 2 ofs of Diana Etherwing, Kongming Razorgale, Genbu, Wake Up with multiple different champions. Lorraine Aggro, Spirit Ruler Lorraine.
With Sword Saint's Vow.
Arasana. All of these are 2 ofs. 2 ofs in day 2.
They're all here. Everyone is here.
Yep. And then there's another way, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 more decks that are all 1-ofs.
This is crazy.
So 20 unique archetypes.
20 unique archetypes.
This is the point I want to make.
Out of 44 people.
Yeah, so many different decks made it into day 2. You can really do a lot of different things. And any of them seem like you have a chance of doing it successfully.
Yep.
Now, some decks are 1 of at the event, and also 1 of in day 2.
Yes.
Like the Guardian aggro deck.
There's
an aggro deck with Tenoris running Blast Shield.
Shield
and
Fragmentation.
Shield Fragmentation.
Yeah.
And that's rad.
Yeah.
But that is a 1 of. That is a 1 of 1.
That's the one deck that did it.
And then you also see something like Suzaku. There's only 1 Suzaku deck in the top in day 2.
Really kind of surprising to me because that deck was going so hard. KFC was just a very popular deck and it's very, very powerful.
But yeah, that's like 1 out of 11, 9% conversion rate.
Yeah.
That's the lowest conversion rate of any of the decks in day 2.
Pretty good.
So some of the more popular decks definitely still converted. Some of the less popular decks also converted. And that's the thing that I think we're going to be looking at some specific decks a little bit later.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna get to it.
Yeah, we're going to get to it.
I don't want to spoil all the fun.
But yeah, just a lot of variety in day 2, I think, is the important part of this conversation. So not only a lot of variety in day 1, but a lot of variety in day 2, which I think is really, really cool.
Yes.
And then we should also talk a little bit about the archetypes.
Yes.
So the archetype breakdown here. I guess the important part of this is it was more than 50% mid-range.
Yes.
Which a lot of the level 3 decks fall into.
Yeah. People love playing level 3, which means people love playing mid-range piles. I certainly love a good mid-range pile.
Absolutely. But not a lot of everything else, right?
Yeah.
So 4 aggro decks total, including the one of Suzaku, the one of Tenoris, and then there were 2 Phylos. There were 4 kind of tempo-y ally decks, including a Nico Water Allies that we have
made today too.
Yeah,
I got there.
we have 2 Diana Etherwing decks,
Yep.
which is like kind of more in the tempo-y side than the mid-range side.
Yeah,
it's
hard. It's got some interesting. It's got a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, this is one of the decks that's really hard to classify here.
Yeah.
Because personally, I feel like aggro is just throwing all your cards at your opponent.
Yeah,
and then tempo is you actually care about your cards.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where it's like it could play a tempo game. It's got some combo-y stuff in there. Maybe you call it a little bit mid-range. I wouldn't call this. I don't know if I would call this mid-range.
Yeah,
it's not quite. It's not quite mid-range.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like Diana is hitting you from turn 1.
Yeah.
Right. Like there are no you're not taking turns off with Diana. You're not ramping up into anything.
Yeah.
But your threats are of a Diana size, and you don't have a lot of threats out on the board. The threats that you do have are important.
Yes.
So not an aggro deck, more of a tempo deck. Giant pile of mid-range decks. 26 mid-range decks.
So much mid-range.
This is Shadow Strike. This is Crux. This is Seryu. This is there was a Fire CL in the mix.
Yeah.
So this is 60% of the field on mid-range.
Yep.
We do have a couple of actual control decks here.
There are
there was
decks.
a Water CL.
Yep.
There were some Genbus.
Yep.
There was one Luxem Xander.
Yeah, he's still around.
Yeah, they're still around. So a couple of control decks and a couple of combo decks.
Yeah.
We actually did see some wake up, not only in the day 2, but also in the top 8.
Yep.
So good job on them. There were 2 Razor Gales.
Razor Gale is back, baby.
I'm so happy.
Oh my goodness. This was
happy.
your deck.
This was my deck.
This was your deck.
Kongming Razor Gale. Not the Vanitas version. I do want to specify this. The Vanitas version of Razor Gale was Sir not appearing in this film.
This is not the Rictus Razor Gale that you've been hearing all about.
Correct,
on YouTube.
correct.
So
yeah, this is Kongming Razor Gale with not a lot of new tech.
yeah, surprisingly, there wasn't a whole lot new going into this deck.
No, it was just decently well positioned.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And one arcane deck showed up.
This is my deck. I mean, not my deck, but this deck is everything I want.
Yeah, we're gonna let Ken talk about that in a little bit. So like a very, very small amount of each of these, right? 10% aggro, 10% tempo, 15% control, 10% combo, and everything else is mid-range. Just a giant mid-range pile. So yeah, this is the future of Grand Archive. Yeah. This is probably the healthiest meta we've ever been in.
It is.
There is a sense that almost anything you do will work.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing it well.
Yes.
So nothing is being hated out of the format right now, except for maybe Fractals.
Yeah, the most important thing right now is just finding something that you are comfortable with and just practicing it and just being comfortable with it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Your questions are very, very important. Your answers are also important, but you need to be asking very good questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would love to highlight a few of the decks that made day 2, which I think were neat.
Heck yeah.
Some of these will be representative archetypes that you would expect to see, on a grander scale. Some of these were just one-offs that just happened to show up and do very, very well. So to start it off, since we called it out, we have Memo at 44th place with a Water Unique Allies Nico deck. You might have seen a similar Water Allies CL deck making the rounds at Taipei. This is very much the same vein of that, is playing a lot of unique allies, including Lily, and using a lot of the classic protection stuff like Storm of Thorns, Song of Frost, and also the new Castling Boon.
Yep.
Which is a very, very good favorable wins on steroids, which, I mean, you got to protect your guys.
Yeah, true.
Also, Rescue the Air is a card being used here. Because
this is a very Guardian water allies.
Yeah.
And that's very cool. My understanding is that it is Nico because the player has a Nico CSR.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because I saw the Mage Bane last year, and I'm like, there's really not much of a reason to be bringing that out if you're not.
Yeah, especially only level 1.
Only level 1. There's no really big payoff.
There's no Nico 2 in here.
But rock what you got. I mean, the core of this is very, very solid. I mean, Rescue the Air is going to give you a lot of good ally protection because it's a zero-cost way to save a unique ally, which is very good, and all of your unique allies are very stacked. You got Shui Ying in here, who's a very, very good stealthy horse. You got Lily, you got Nia, you got Snow White, you got Sadie.
Yeah, the whole complement.
Everyone's here. Also Gildas. Everyone's here. And
do we have Shang Shang in there or no?
We do not have Shang Shang. Okay. This is not the norm hybrid.
Yeah, not enough norm.
Yeah, not enough norm. It's all water. But all these water cards are good.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Very cool deck.
So I do want to call out Water Allies is one of those decks that consistently overperforms for its representation.
It's true.
With the exception of like Auckland, where everybody plays Water Allies.
Yeah, Water Allies is sort of like it feels like a regional special.
Right? It does.
Yeah.
And it almost always seems like Water Allies is poised to do well, and then very few people bring it. Like, just nobody else likes it. Weird.
Yeah. In 40th place, we have Hamzor on Fire Aggro Tenoris. This is it's a pretty classic Fire Aggro deck, but it's got a few nice tricks here.
The fascinating thing for this one is the only Guardian card is Blast Shield in the materials.
Yes, and most notably, it runs one copy of Shield Fragmentation, which is just a Blazing Throw, but Shield.
Yep.
So 3 Blazing Throws and 1 Shield Fragmentation.
So fascinating.
You run out of swords to
Doesn't
slow.
even have the guts to run the full complement of 4 Blazing Throws.
I know, but listen, you only have 2 swords, and you're only going to be able to throw twice.
No, man. 4 Blazing Throws, 2 Shield Fragmentations. Commit to the goddamn bit.
It's true. You need backups for your backups. Very, very important.
But the deck did make day 2. So.
Yeah. It's got a sweet Kindle package, if I do say so myself. So,
a lot of Kindle going on. I think that's really cool.
Courtesans, Intensified Pyres, March Hares, all that good stuff. So lots of ways to do damage and reuse your cards. It's quite nice. 37th place, we have Netto on Water Umbra CL. This is sort of that stall until you can get to level 3 and then sort of crank out a bunch of inevitable damage that is unpreventable and tough to deal with in the forms of CL3, Carter, Spirel.
Yeah, no, this seems like a really, really cool deck.
Yeah.
Did not perform particularly well over the entirety of the tournament. Both Water Umbra CL and Fire Umbra CL clocked in at a cool 9 decks in the field.
Yeah.
And only 1 made it to day 2.
Yeah. I mean, this is still one of these slower decks, and it can get run over by more aggressive stuff. But, if you're able to stabilize and get there, I would hate to have to be the person on the receiving end of this. I was the person on the receiving end of this. It's really rough.
It's real rough.
But yeah, this is, if you've seen sort of the true champion breakdown of this list, you kind of know what to expect. There's like a couple changes here, but otherwise it's kind of just business as usual.
Yeah.
So congrats to Netto on that. In 23rd place, we have Tepe Slorn. I apologize if I'm getting your name wrong. On Fire Umbra CL.
It's all right. I got his name wrong on stream. So.
Oh, no. That's even worse.
Yeah, I still don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced.
That's fair. Maybe if you're out there, Tepe Slorn, Mr. Slorn, please tell us what we're doing.
If that's your name.
If that's your real name. So this deck is running the good old Beguiling Coup, which you can get a lot of shenanigans going with this thing. And perhaps some heavy swings. But even if you don't have them, it's just a good way to get around taunts. It's also running the Grim Pastiche Profane Bindings combo. Which
I love it.
It's a great way to make your opponent feel like everything has gone to crap because you can no longer play the game.
Yeah, he hit, I think, multiple, but at least 1 dungeon guide with with the Profane Bindings.
Unfortunate. Also really spicy. This man is running 4 copies of Rictus Tiding in the deck, and he is running Flame Wreath Calls, which do cost 5. So I think there are some ways that you can actually get this value.
It's a little tough here. He doesn't have a lot of ways to stack his deck.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. Maybe you're just hoping for the best. Maybe you're just gambling. If you happen to draw 2, great. If not, you're at least stacking your deck a little bit.
Yep.
So Pretty cool. 19th place, we have Neutral End on Water Aetherwing Diana. Diehard Diana fan
this is your show.
Oh, yeah. This is the level 2 variant, the Carpsong Coda variant, made famous with the 4 Carpsong Codas and the 4 Languid Toad Trolls, which you can use to just blow up your enemy out of nowhere. If you get a good glimpse off of your Aquamarch Whisper, throw your troll in the graveyard and just Carpsong, boom. But the fun thing about Neutral End's deck is he always runs a lot of interesting one-ofs, so he's got a ton here. He's got an Alacritus Huntress. He has a Mana Bolt Convergence for a little bit of recursion and cycling. He's got an Acquiescing Rejection, which is the closest thing we're going to get to a hard counter, a hard negate in this game, because no one's going to make you draw 2. If they do, they're going to regret it. A one of Conniving Plans, a one of Dahlia, Idyllic Dreamer, because there is a lot of water and there is a lot of milling happening here. A one of Frostbind and a one of Frozen Dismissal. So that's pretty neat. Otherwise, it's kind of a lot of the good tempo-y goodness. A lot of big shots, a lot of ways to control the board and also get some damage. And then you've got your Paladins and your Archers, who are just wonderful. So good show here. Looking Glass on the side with some Ranger Strats and the Mad Hatters. I think that's really fun.
That's neat.
Yeah. In 15th place, we have Hyoka on Windride.
Heck yeah.
I never thought I would see this deck again. But here it is in front of me, and I'm really happy to see it.
Yeah, there's been enough additional support, right? Like with Seiryu coming out, so now there's a couple more arcane cards, and then Fluffy actually doing some real work here.
I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about this in just a little bit more detail than normal, just because I love this deck.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I won my first regionals on this deck. Thank you, Pickle Sword, for giving me a cool deck to borrow from. So if you're not familiar with Windrye, it can kill you in one of two ways. It can kill you the classic Rye way, which is big old blasts for big damage, or it can use a little combo of Arcane Elemental and Disorienting Winds to repeatedly throw out a giant 7/7 to pummel your opponent to death. And the nice thing about this is that the Fluffy Shopkeep, when you put it into play, lets you banish 2 material deck cards to draw a card in memory. And this deck is running 3 Arcane Regalia, 2 of which it intends to banish. And notably, Arcane Elemental, costing 7, is discounted for every Arcane Element card in your banishment. Not spell card, any arcane card. So this is a good way to ramp out your Arcane Elemental really quickly. And then you can Disorient your Winds back to your hand and draw the next card, which is probably another Disorienting Winds because you scryed this guys before this, right?
Or Advented. This deck is so thick on threats.
Yes.
It's really, really cool to see this deck in action. It is almost... I'm not going to say less combo-y than it used to be, but the thing is, the deck used to run entirely on card draw.
Yeah.
And now it's backed off a little bit of the card draw to lean into the stacking with Scry the Skies, with Advent, with and then using kind of Careful Study to sort of catch you up on that. But it's so thick on threats with Erratic Bolts, with Shattering Discharge, with Advent, with Arcane Blast, with Arcane Elemental. Like, every single card in this deck will kill you.
It's true. I was really surprised to see it drop Beseech the Winds, but it seems like it's doing just fine without it. Jim, as I recall, you watched Hyoka play 3 times on stream, and you commentated all of them.
I did, in fact. I think it was me and Clem specifically for every one of Hyoka's
you're
matches.
like the expert on this deck now.
Oh, yeah. I could run it in my sleep at this point.
I should be taking lessons from you, clearly. So also, I want to call out the Fortuitous Wind Spirit is a great pick for Rye. Because you want to banish arcane cards specifically to level up. So I think in this case, I was talking to some other folks, or at least listening to a conversation, and it sounds like this was kind of a meta call. Like, I think he was expecting to see a lot of level 3 decks, and so he could afford to take the turn off with Fortuitous Wind. If he had seen more aggressive matchups, and I think if you even look at his matches, the aggressive sort of level 0, level 1 decks were a little harder for him to deal with here. So there, the Spirit of Wind might have been a little bit better to call. But in this case, I think the meta call was correct. He made it far enough to get this high. So that's
he did
really
real
cool.
well.
That's cool. Anyway, rant over. That concludes all the decks that I thought were neat in the day 2 lineup. Obviously, there are many other good players who made this list, and I would love to shout you all out.
So I would like to also, in addition to the decks that Ken thinks are neat, I wanted to call out in 35th place 7 Bricks.
7 Bricks.
Who is running a interesting version of the Wake Up deck, the Wake Up combo.
This is interesting. That
kind of leans a little bit more into its mid-range wind ally roots. So there's a little bit more emphasis on allies. There's a chunk more unique allies, and it's actually running Oath of the Sakura.
I was about to say, this looks like an Oath deck.
Right?
It's even running the Lena Doromegia's Herald.
Yeah, and it still keeps all of the elements of the Wake Up combo. It's got the drafts of stamina. It's got the second winds.
Yep.
I think it's even running the rallied advances as well.
It is actually, in fact, not running the rallied.
Oh, no rallied advances? Never mind.
I think you would make sense in this list,
right? Yeah, because it's
running
Lorraine, right? You might as well.
I guess you have so much. You only have so much room,
right? But yeah, so it's doing both the Wake Up things and sort of the unique Wind Ally things, and I think this is a neat evolution to the deck. I don't know if it'll take. Like, I don't know if this is what it's going to look like going forward, but it is a slightly different approach.
This is kind of it seems like a nice backup plan in case your Wake Up hand is not really what you want it to be. This at least lets you play a different game plan a bit more efficiently. Because I know that without the Cheshire Cat, it's a little sort of difficult for you to clear allies. So, oh wait, I missed one. I was going to talk about this. In 13th place, Emp. On the Fire Vow Crux Lorraine.
Yeah.
Yes, this is one I think Lifter Soul was also on. This one is planning to get the Sword Saint's Vow out and hone a big ol' Rending Flames and send it at you. And if it doesn't get that, it's got Ghost of Pendragon to sort of draw cards. It can use all those counters that it's accumulated on the Vow to disperse. Or it can wake up and smack you multiple times with a Spirit's Blessing. So... kind of a versatile deck, can play a bunch of different roles. It struggles a little bit with ally clearance early on if you don't draw your Cheshire Cat, because that's kind of the main way you're really controlling the board here, outside of like maybe 3 of Hearts and a few Flame Sweeps. But it's only running 2 Flame Sweeps, so that might not be the most consistent thing.
Yeah, this is also an interesting evolution in Crux that we're seeing.
Yeah.
It runs a lot of the same tools as sort of the typical Crux Knight Lorraine.
Yeah.
But... because of the power of Sword Saint's Vow, with the extra durability from Spirit Ruler, it has a lot more punchy attacks.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little dangerous if you get your Vow removed, but this does have some fallback plans on it. So
very cool.
Sometimes can be a bit feast or famine, at least from talking from some people about the deck, but it's very explosive. And that will conclude my discussion of the Day 2 decks, because in the top 8 we have 7 unique decks.
So my prediction came true. This whole time I was saying, the field is so wide open. I don't know what's going to be in the top 8, but I'm expecting at least 6 unique decks in the top 8. And there were 7 unique decks in the top 8. The only deck that was doubled up on was Merlin, and Merlin didn't even get into the top 4.
That's crazy.
I love this meta.
Crazy. And the lineup here is so excited. So we're going to talk about it. In 8th place, we have Perfy. Good old Perfy on Fire Merlin. And this is the prismatic version. So it's running a Chilling Touch and a Swift Recruit to complement its Spirit Blade Ascensions. And otherwise, it's the Merlin that you know and love.
Yeah, like every Merlin deck in this event, top to bottom, right?
Yeah.
All 30 of them, 30-ish of
30-ish,
them were... pretty much card for card. Like Fractal of Insight has this deck similarity thing to tell you, other people that were running the deck that were pretty close to how you ran the deck.
Yeah.
And like even people that have absolutely no relation to each other are still like 85%, 90% close.
Yeah.
Which most of the time when people make any kind of different decisions, that number doesn't even show up.
This one's really interesting because it has some really interesting one-ofs in it. So, it's got a 1 of Crystallized Destiny chilling there, a 1 of Resolute Stand, a 1 of Turbocharge, which kind of makes sense. The Turbocharge is a really good value. The Water card, the Wind card. It's got a 1 of Ignite the Soul.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of card that you might want more of, but...
It's, surprisingly versatile. It can break shields. It can really stop a Crystallized Destiny in its tracks. It can kill Windmill Engineers. Words out of Perfy's mouth, specifically, not mine. But yeah, which is really great. If they're trying to do a little Windmill Ace in play, you can sort of shut that off. Surprisingly very flexible. Also does float. You can just eat it when you're done with it.
We do love float.
We do enjoy dumpster diving. So this did really well. I know Perfy's very experienced with Merlin, so I think this is very tried and tested. When I was being recommended where to start learning to play Merlin, I was recommended one of Perfy's decks. So I think that just goes to show that he's got this down.
Yeah,
pretty well.
Absolutely.
So
it made top 8, so good job with the man.
I would also like to call it on the sideboard. There's a 1 of copy of Duplicitous Replication, which I assume is for the mirror because replicating a Majestic Spirit just sounds hilarious.
It has to be. I can't imagine anything else that's worth kind of bringing that card in for.
Yeah. So, Grats Perfy. I'm always excited to see you make the top cut. So that was really cool. In 7th place, we have Superior on Water Genbu.
Yeah, so Superior, one of the better performing Canadian players.
Absolutely.
And definitely one of the more recognizable Canadian players.
Absolutely.
You know, if you've been involved in the scene for very long, if you've done any of the online tournaments, I'm sure you've seen his name.
Yeah, you guys share a namesake.
Yeah.
He's Jim. He too is Jim.
Well, good for him.
Gosh, Jim.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's got a lot of the Genbu staples in here. I wouldn't say that this is anything particularly crazy. There's a lot of 2-ofs, though, I will say. You know, we got the 2-of Mustang, 2-of Conniving Plans, 2-of Pelagic Fate Stone, 2-of Revitalizing Cleanse, 2-of Song of Frost, 2-of Stratagem, 2-of Bullfrog, 2-of Tidal Lock. All seems mathematical in a way.
It's weird. It's one of those things. It's like, okay, you just want to make room for a lot of things, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential tech options that you need. You also need to find space to jam the 4 liminal guides in here,
Also
which is
true.
a great addition to this deck. But otherwise, it's the Genbu that we know and love here. He's also got that Tabula. I love seeing a Tabula in the Genbu list because you're planning to set up some
Yeah, Tabula's a little
shenanigans.
spicy.
Yeah,
I think Tabula is actually like the standard now. I think Tabula is no longer spicy. I think Tabula is the go-to.
Tabula is the way. This man also respected Fantasias because he cited 2 Expel the Departeds.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is quite.
It's interesting seeing the Fantasia hate that actually came out because we're going to see some real Fantasia hate from one of the other top decks.
Oh yes. But Grass is superior.
Yeah, good job, man.
Always love seeing you at the top as well. In 6th place, we have a Night-ish on Fire Merlin. Not the Prismatic Merlin.
Nope.
Pure Fire Merlin, right
Pure
here.
Fire Merlin.
Yep.
But still fairly similar to all of the other
Yeah.
Merlin decks that we've been seeing.
Yeah. And you have a little bit more, you have a bit of a different sword choice in here. I think you're in the sort of Seeking here over the sort of Shadows, which is, I think there's sort of a flavor to taste sort of thing. Otherwise, you're seeing a few extra fire cards in here. The Thunderclaps. Pretty
That's
useful.
cool. I didn't notice that the Thunderclaps were in there. That's not a thing that you see very often.
I think that's sort of like a respect to the water players out there, you know?
The water players and also Wake Up. Like, you really need something to be able
true.
to deal with big allies.
True. Yeah, you do need a way to shut those down too. But yeah, a lot of good classic Merlin stuff. Not much to say about that, really.
Yeah, it's Merlin.
You know Merlin.
You've seen one, you've seen them all.
But that doesn't mean Night-ish deserves any less praise. Obviously,
Yeah, absolutely.
Did great
Even
work
with
here.
it's like, sure, it's a standard deck, but there were 30 other players with a standard deck, and Night-ish is the one that made 6th place.
Exactly. He's the highest ranked one of all of them.
There you go.
Congrats, Night-ish. You did great. In 5th place, from across the pond in Germany, we have Asuna on Wind Shadow Strike Tristan, the top-rated Tristan. We have
Tristan. There's not really a whole lot to say about this deck. I mean, I think a lot of the cards that included are pretty standard.
Yeah.
There is that one of Spirel that seems to be more and more common these days.
She is a great addition to any level 3 Umbra deck. I mean, I think if you bring her out, she does wonderful, wonderful things. She does a lot of passive damage over time, and also she's another way to maybe eke out some extra negates and make your opponent's life a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, we actually saw Asuna on stream taking some great advantage of the control elements of Spirel and really throwing his opponent for a loop.
Absolutely. Other than that, if you've seen Tristan, you know what to expect here. It's got a one of Crystallized Destiny, too. Only one broker, too. I kind of was surprised about that.
Yeah, going a little bit light on the prep gen allies is really interesting. I think that's something that a lot of Tristans shy away from.
Yeah. It does have some Fantasia in the board. It's got 2 Scatter Essence. Also has Tempest Downfall, which is a fun one for problematic allies and maybe get a little extra reach.
I think this is for cats. Oh, no, cats are spell immune.
Cat is spell immune. It is not for cats.
Okay.
But
maybe for other Wake Up allies.
yes, perhaps so. But Asuna, good job. Glad you made it out. In 4th place, we have Fruitcake on Fragmented Wind, Astra Arasana. If there's one deck that brought hope back into my life, there's one player who brought hope back into my life, it's Fruitcake. Jim, I believe you fought this man in NorCal Regionals.
I did, in fact. That was exciting. So I brought Horse and Taxes to NorCal Regionals.
Yep.
And there were some trials and tribulations in that event. I bookended the event with game losses because I didn't know how to fill out a deck list.
Oopsies.
Nor did I know how to fill out my sideboard. But
it's hard.
I intentionally drew with Fruitcake in the final round in
Yeah.
order to get both of us into top 16.
Yeah.
And then, we played for funsies, and I creamed him.
Ooh.
So I'm pretty proud of that.
Ooh.
I think he just didn't really know how to play into Horse and Taxes. I think
Yeah.
it might have been his actual first game against that deck.
Well, it turns out without Horse and Taxes on the field, he was thriving.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
No, dude is very skilled.
Oh, yeah.
I got to commentate one of his matches, and I was impressed with his, I'm going to call it iron will.
Yeah.
This is the same kind of tenacity and fortitude that you need in order to play Guile at a high level.
Oh, yeah.
This dude down backed so hard.
Do not flash kick.
I love watching him look at the board and look at his Polaris and being like, I can save it. Like, he did this across 3 turns, and each time, like, I could see his opponent, I could feel the soul dripping out of his opponent, just like, when can I attack him? Because it was against Wake Up, so you can't commit to the board, you can't commit to trying to kill him.
No, it's over at that point.
So I want to just throw out some props for Fruitcake for playing that match really, really well.
Absolutely. His list, too, is quite nice. 2 Beseech the Winds, 2 Arrow Traps showing Revis for Shenju and also for Wake Up, 2 Scout the Lands to sort of do a little extra filtering, Regenerate.
I saw the Regenerate.
Regenerate is a good one. We do like Regenerate in this house, a little extra way to survive. 2 Zephyrs. I don't frequently see Zephyrs in many of these lists, but I always wonder why people don't run more Zephyrs, because
Zephyrs just really strong as a general utility card.
It's a versatile card. I do think going down a card is always tough in this list, but Fruitcake, he's running Fragmented Spirit, not Serene Spirit, which is something that I like, because I've always felt like, I feel like Ari has needed Serene just with how fast things gotten recently, but I miss the extra card.
Yeah,
so being able to get it out here is pretty good.
So there was another Astra Arasana in day 2. They ended up in 12th place, and they were running Serene instead of Fragmented.
Yeah. So, it's still very, very close, right? Still very good performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this list, though, has a few other things that's interesting. 4 Astral Seals, 2 Horta counters, so 6 full negates.
Yep.
And a Spell Shield Astra.
Yeah.
Just in case, because big hits big.
All right, so let's talk about Fantasia hate.
There are so much in this sideboard. Goodness gracious. 4 Scatter Essence and 2 Noble Dissolution. This man came with a plan, and that plan was destroy every Fantasia.
Yeah.
Man.
So lucky for Xenadrail, who didn't have to face him in the finals.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Other things to call out here: Lunar Conduit, great card for extra reach. Ravaging Tempest, great to ruin a Shenju's day. And another Spell Shield Astra in case you want to block one more big hit.
Ravaging Tempest also good against all of those deer and those Merlin.
Yeah, cards. That's true. All they get is a card. It's not 2 cards. It's not quite great. Also, a Suspicious Concoction. I want to know more about when this is brought in.
So he did bring it in one of the matches that we saw.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he has some regalia in the main that aren't useful sometimes.
Aha.
He's got some kind of niche choices there.
Yeah.
So he has something to side them out for.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. You're not always going to need your Nullifying Lanterns or your Sensors necessarily.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. All right, something for me to try. Congrats, Fruitcake. I'm so proud you made it, and you showed that this girl still has legs.
Absolutely.
And a whole garden. Anyway, this joke is tenuous. In 3rd place, RNG on Wind Wake Up Tristan. This is a pretty stock list.
Yeah, this is not. There's not a lot to really comment on here.
Yeah, I guess if I wanted to call out something, it's the 2 copies of Steady Sharpshooter, which is a surprisingly bulky threat at 4 health. It's actually a little bit difficult to remove, and it can potentially build up one very big attack. Also, 2 Cry for Help.
Yep.
Because sometimes you need to not die, and that means letting someone else take the hit for you.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Everything else after that is kind of standard stuff. Arrow Traps to deal with Shenju, some card draw, some hate pieces, Staggering Strikes.
Staggering Strikes. We do love Staggering Strikes.
1 Innervate Agility, just in case. Just in case.
Doesn't he also have 1 in the main?
He does not.
Oh. Man, I get all of these decks, all of these Wind decks, they feel very, very similar. And I'm never sure which one is going to have 1 of in the main, 1 of in the board, 2 of in the main, 2 in 1.
Could be all of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, but congrats, RNG.
Yeah,
Pulled it off.
Well played.
Did well. In second place, we have Bratus, also known as Main Deck Alex, on Wind Seiryu. Good old Seiryu. We love Seiryu in this house. So, a couple noteworthy things. We have a Regal Inquisition in the main board, which is a great way to deal with those nasty Tristan players. And then we're seeing sort of more of the ally-centric package, because we're seeing sort of the 2 commands and the Hearth Lightning drop to 3. And this is all to make room for 4 Shimmercloak Assassins. Now, I've been slowly converted to the Shimmercloak Assassin train over the course of Niagara Falls weekend. It's just a 2/2 stealth body is already tough to deal with. If you Brisk Wind Trotter your Shimmercloak Assassin, then it's a 4/4 stealth. It's really tough to deal with.
Also true.
Very, very difficult. Can just eat stuff alive. Very difficult to remove. Very nasty threat. Something to consider.
Yeah,
so
very strong.
Yeah. Also, the 2 of Displace here, I really, really like. Displace is such a cheeky, cheeky play and a way to sort of get extra advantages in this matchup or in this deck. It's really, really good.
You have not lived until you've displaced a second winded attacker.
Oh my god. Also, if someone tries to remove one of your units and you displace a Brisk One Trotter to make it just big enough for them to not kill, it's wonderful. Oh, I love it.
His match against Fruitcake was so. Oh jeez. There was a buffed Shenju.
Yes. I heard about this. Yeah. It was a tragedy.
So, I do want to call this out because I kind of made a point of talking about Fruitcake missing the buff counter on stream. And I want to sort of mitigate that by saying that even if he had spotted the buff counter, he was absolutely dead in the water in that game.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether he missed the buff counter and made that mistake and cost him the game immediately, he was not winning that game regardless. Yes. And he knew it.
I was very sad because on our way back from actually seeing the falls, I was watching a bit of sort of the Fruitcake versus Asuna match on stream, and I just saw 6 Cosmic Bolts on the table, and I was like, he's activating all of these, right? He started calling all of these, right? And so I went for that, being like, okay, well, this is going to be an Arasana match into a Seiryu. I think I'll have enough time to actually go and get back to the venue, change and get back to the venue. And then I got back to the venue, and I was like, it's done?
Yeah.
What?
That did real quick.
Which really just shows you the high roll potential of Seiryu. It's very, very, very powerful. The board for this deck is also really interesting. It's got a Windblast Kite Shield, which is a trick I've always wanted to try, which is just giving your dragon vigor. So it's just what you attack and
really good against ally decks.
Yeah, great against ally decks. Crystallized Destinies, which is a card that I have fallen in love with over the course of the past weekend.
A lot of those in this, not only in this top 8, but in this event in general.
It's just a fantastic card. 2 Incaps.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Resolute Stands, Staggering Strikes, Regal Inquisition, Cleansing Reunion. That's an interesting pick, I feel. I want to know how well it performed for him, because I feel like that card's a little bit awkward to use in my experience. But
it says something about what he's worried about. I think,
yes.
Right? This is just an indicator that, of all the decks that he could be scared about, he's kind of scared of Genbu.
Yeah, definitely scared of Genbu, and probably scared of some of the fire floor heavy decks too. Yep. So, but hey, Bradis, good job.
Yeah,
fantastic. But there could be only one, and in first place we have Xenadriel on Wind, Razorgale, Kongming.
I love it. Also, I love the narrative here of, the previous Ascent in Canada, Ascent Toronto, being absolutely flooded with Razorgales. And here we have another Ascent in Toronto being won by a Canadian with Razorgale.
Yep. So I'm going to use this moment to share my experience with Xenadriel and blow it far out of proportion.
Great.
When I first met Xenadriel at a good old event that we talked about called Ascent Chicago, and back then I was playing Nico. I thought I knew Nico pretty well, but I decided after seeing a gentleman win a Canadian regionals with a particularly good Nico deck and seeing some advice online about how to pilot that deck, I thought I will take this deck to Ascent Chicago and do pretty well with it. And I got to the last round, which was my winning in, and I ran into another opponent by the name of Xenadriel, and he was the one who won that regionals. And I was piloting the deck that he was piloting, and he knew the deck far better than I did, and he creamed me.
Yeah, that sounds real.
Yep. In the wake of Nico sort of falling to the wayside, I know he picked up Razorgale. I think I saw him on Razorgale at Santa Clara, and he's been playing for a while. So I imagine he's already a very skilled player. Running into my net decking aside, he's still a very, very good player, and I think he's practiced this deck quite frequently, and probably knows the in and outs very, very well. And it looks like he was very well favored.
He sure did well. So
yeah. I mean, there's not too much here to say that's sort of changed about this deck since it sort of was created, I would say.
One of the things that I do want to call out is he's running 2 Eternal Magistrates main.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that, like, I think this deck kind of needs a couple of things to slow its opponent down here and there. So the Eternal Magistrates in the main, the Innervate Agilities in the main.
Yeah.
I like sort of this more utility toolboxy version of Razor Gale, even if it comes at the expense of a couple of card draws.
I do need to call out one card which is new to this list, which is Usurp the Winds.
Oh, he used it so well,
This
too.
is so cool. This is a 1-cost fast action mage spell, which gives up to 1 target ally +1/+1 until end of turn. As a calming bonus, which you can change your shifting currents. If you change from facing west to south, you can draw a card, which is noteworthy because your Bagua of Cardinal Fate generally wants to be triggered when you are pointing west, so you can glimpse 3 and draw. That's kind of the whole thing. It's sort of an extra set of Fairy Whispers.
Right.
So you're already going to be west to begin with, so you can easily play Usurp the Winds, buff something, shift your shifting currents to the south, and draw your card, swing with your ally, and then set it right back to west.
Yep.
And just keep doing that.
Yeah. So Usurp the Winds is a fantastic addition to this deck. I think in terms of like so kind of the cards that we were talking about, the additional utility as well as this additional draw, comes at the expense of the Slime package, which you can no longer run.
You
in
can't
this deck.
even run that away, but this sort of like lets you sort of mitigate the card advantage that you're losing from not having
absolutely.
that package.
Usurp the Winds also, and this happened on stream, is a great way to get your Ardent Cloud Strikers online a turn early.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
So dude goes Cloud Striker, swing for 3. Next turn, level to Kongming, Cloud Striker Usurp.
Oof. That's brutal.
Yeah, it's huge.
That boy's swinging for 7.
I really, really like what Usurp does in this deck.
That is fantastic. I love that. Man, you're making me a Razor Gale fan. Might have to try it. Might have to give it a shot. If I wasn't already busy playing right. Anyway, let's not enough about me. Let's talk about the sideboard. So he has a Fire and Wind Bauble in the main, so clearly, making that meta call. Water in the side just in case.
Yep.
2 Mustangs because it is difficult to deal with a Lantern in this deck. It does shut down your cyclical breezes, so you do need that. 3 Ensnaring Fumes to say, get those Shenju right out of here.
You gotta have something.
You need something, and you're probably going to have enough cards to broadcast this. I think it'll be fine.
Absolutely.
2 more Eternal Magistrates. Again, Eternal Magistrate came in very clutch in the finals against Bradis, against Tesseriu, because it meant that he couldn't level up faster. Although he kind of just sent it, so it's...
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. But it did cause him to waste a lot of extra energy dealing with that Magistrate, so I think that was pretty good. 2 more Innervate Agilities, and 3 Vertigus Decrees.
Yep.
So,
Decent amount of hate.
Decent amount of hate. So... It's really exciting to see this deck again.
Right?
I after spending a lot of time being afraid of it and just sort of seeing it sort of fall to the wayside, I was like, it's still cool to see that the older archetypes can be given new energy and brought back, and you can do very well with them.
Yeah, I don't want to hype this particular deck up too much, but I think any of these kind of older archetypes bubbling their way to the top like this, I think that is kind of the canary, right? Or maybe the opposite of the canary.
Yeah.
An indicator of health rather than an indicator of sickness.
Yeah. The fact that these archetypes can be reinvigorated and brought back is a sign that things are definitely healthy and sort of shifting in ways that, means that if you are of some old experience with the deck, you can bring it back, repurpose it.
Yep.
Get some work done. So, congrats to Zenadriel. Very excited.
Job.
So, very excited to see Canada winning the Canadian Ascent.
Absolutely.
So.
3 Canadians in the top 8, actually.
Hey, there we go.
So
there we go.
They did really well.
Yeah.
They performed really well in their sort of hometown Ascent.
Holding it down. So, that is Ascent Niagara Falls. Great event.
Yeah.
Would love to go back. Which brings us
to the end phase.
The end phase. So, as of the recording of this video, we just finished watching the Phantom Monarchs live stream.
Oh boy.
There's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah. So we're all playing Assassin, I see.
There's going to be a lot of Assassin. There's going to be a lot of Merlin everywhere. We're going to we have Mage Merlin, we got Warrior Merlin, we got Distortion Merlin, we got Assassin Merlin, got Crux, non-Crux, everything. Everybody's Merlin. You're all Merlin.
It's only Merlin.
Now. Also, there's some Umber cards.
I think so. Yeah.
There's some Umber cards in there too. Actually, the most crazy thing is we have our first level 2 advanced element champion in the form of Alice Phantom Monarch.
God, That card looks nuts.
Which is kind of crazy. They're definitely withholding the level 3 because it says inherited effect on the level 2.
Right.
And we can only assume that there's someone out there. There's going
to be so much more spice in the set.
Yeah. I'm also excited to see the existing archetypes revitalized. I think more CL and Dianasaur is going to be really cool. I want to see some chessmen. Very excited. The official spoiler season is not actually started yet, but I'm sure by the time this video is out, there'll be plenty more things to be screaming about.
So, absolutely.
I'm looking forward. I do want to see how the meta will shift as a result. I do think things are very healthy right now. I would like them to continue to remain healthy. So I am pretty optimistic and positive for the future.
Yeah. I think so. For my purposes, all of this stuff looks cool.
Yeah.
Right? It seems like there's a lot of toys to play with.
Yeah.
Nothing has quite caught me yet.
Yes.
Right?
We're still waiting on that, right?
I remember looking at the Dao Chan Reco deck and being like, yes, this is a thing I want to do.
Yeah, this is the
right?
thing.
You know, I saw Slimes coming out and I was like, oh, Sylvie's back.
Yeah.
You know, I saw Oblation show up.
Oh yeah.
As in the DTR spoilers and was like, yes, I can't wait to Oblation and Advent. And, you know, I did, at least once. But nothing has caught me yet for Phantom Monarchs.
Yeah, we will wait and see what the breakout card is. The one that really rustles our jimmies. But until then, we are watching the spoilers with bated breath.
Absolutely.
Excitement. So, and yeah. We also got some reminders of upcoming Ascents. I believe we have Ascent Auckland coming up in the not too far future. So please look forward to our coverage of that. And then after that, we're kind of chilling until Akihabara.
Ooh, yeah.
Which is going to be a massive one, a huge one. So anything can happen there.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have some stuff to talk about.
That's going to be a big one. There's 800 people scheduled to be there. So
yeah. God, I love numbers.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of big numbers here. So hopefully look forward to that.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to talk about?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for listening to the Corhazi Outlook. Please look forward to our next episode. We will most likely be talking about Ascent Auckland. And then perhaps after that, we'll talk about something interesting before Akihabara. Perhaps. But until then, take care.
Take care.